Hey team, so I just got done doing this open house at at the Mills, local Mills around here. They have their career development center where people can go sign up for just extra classes for the employees there. So I was working it, and oftentimes when I talk to my students at the school, or sometimes when I go into the high schools and talk, that when I talk about big picture, big macro picture, I talk about the word legacy. Our whole life we're working towards something, and whether we realize it or not, going towards the finish line of life, we're leaving behind us a legacy. And I try to explain that to the students actually pretty young. I want them to realize that. And I'm at the mill and just thinking about the word legacy. I just watched the interaction of these three employees talking about a gentleman named Mike. Now, I've never met Mike. I don't know who Mike is. I don't know where Mike works. But the way they talked about this gentleman, Mike, unfortunately, the woman that started the conversation was saying he had passed away and she was at his funeral, and it sparked this just huge talk about him, just passion-filled, how awesome of a person he was, how helpful, the salt of the earth. They enjoyed taking his classes. They talked about how time would just fly by anytime they were around this guy, Mike. Now, again, I don't know who Mike is. I don't even know his last name. But just from that little interaction, that's his legacy. And as I sat there and thought about it, I don't know how much money Mike made. I don't know what other talents he had, if he had any talents. But the impression he left on the people by his kindness, his compassion, and just reaching out and always being helpful, that was his legacy. And it just struck me at that moment. Anytime we're working on our legacy, whatever that is, if you're trying to make $1 million and your intention is to let children inherit, or you build libraries, or whatever you do with it. I mean, you could think of the most grand things, or maybe the simplest thing, maybe just being the best parent you can and raising 1 or 2 or 5 children that are all ultra successful and contributing members of society. Maybe that's your legacy. That's great, but it could be as simple as kindness. I don't know, again, what Mike did with his life before he passed away. I don't know how many kids he has, but I know the mark he left on those 3 people sitting around there long after he was gone. All they had to say about him was kind, passionate things. So at times I think about my own funeral, who's going to show up, what's going to be said about my funeral, but it's beyond that. How about 10 years after your funeral? What about that? 10 years after your funeral, what does the legacy look like for you? Are you going to stop at your funeral and just to have people say nice things that day and then forget about you? Or are you going to be like Mike? It could be 5, 10 years pass and they're still talking about you with passion, how much you helped people, the compassion you had, and just the niceness Mike had. So he's left an indelible mark on their life. He's left a mark on my life, just thinking about that and reflecting. So part of Mike's legacy now is being left to you. So think about that. Don't just stop at your funeral. Think about 5, 10 years past. What kind of mark are you going to leave on people talking about you then? All right, guys, have a great day. Deep thought for the night for you to fall asleep to, but I just wanted to share that with you. Talk to you soon.